everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Retro Stellar, where today we'll be looking at something a little different than what we normally do on this channel, which is a lot of Chinese knockoff stuff from like AliExpress or Banggood, handhelds kind of things. But what we're going to be looking at tonight is sort of a legitimate console, I guess you could say. It's a little obscure. Some of you may never have heard of it, but it was actually legitimate. And that would be the Ouya, which is an Android-based system that came out in about 2013, I believe it is. Had a very storied past, sort of controversial. But what I did is I put together a little package here, also something new that hopefully will be a start of a new series, I guess you could say, when it comes to more legitimate consoles out there, the Ataris, PlayStations, TurboGrafx kind of thing. So why don't we take a look at this package I put together for this, give you a little history, gaming 101 of the Ouya.
What if you could push a button and reset the entire video game industry? Ouya. With over 600 games, free to try, there's something for everyone. Shooters, adventure, retro, even frog flinging, all made for one reason only, and that's to be played. Ouya. Over 600 games, free to try, just 99 bucks. Buy now at Ouya.tv.
The Ouya Game Console was first announced by then CEO Julie Ehrman in July of 2012. The announced Android-based system was later introduced in a Kickstarter campaign with a fundraising goal of $950,000. Amazingly, within only 8 hours into the campaign, the goal had already been surpassed. By the time the fundraising was completed, they had raised a total of nearly $9 million, or 904% of their initial goal, which, according to Kickstarter, was the 5th highest earning campaign in its history at that time, and the fastest project to raise more than $1 million in its history. Ouya began to release consoles to their Kickstarter backers in March of 2013, with retail units released to the public in June of that same year for only $99, which was comparatively low with its competitors in the market at that time. It featured, as mentioned, an Android-based system, Jelly Bean to be precise, which was easily modded by design and could be used as development kits to allow anyone who chose to do so to develop games without a licensing fee. The games on the system were originally intended to either be free to play, have a free trial, or have in-game purchases for upgrades. It was possible to sideload emulators and ROMs, allowing you to play retro systems up to PlayStation 1, N64, and Dreamcast. The Ouya seemed to have a lot of interesting features, which should have boded well for the system. So why did it fail? Sales were nowhere near expectations. Developers failed to accept the platform despite being such an open system. This could be because the console did not live up to the hype. The build quality was less than stellar, with the controller being a notoriously cheap piece of crap and difficult to use. The Ouya also had some performance issues, particularly with the Wi-Fi connection, which made playing games a problem. The games, even with the open platform, were criticized for being uninteresting as a whole. The company also apparently favored retail buyers over the original Kickstarter backers, those of which had to wait months to receive their system, despite other buyers being able to purchase an Ouya in retail. This left a sour taste in many supporters' mouths, understandably so. All of this, along with an unflattering public relations campaign by CEO Julie Ehrman,
there is nothing special about this board. Nothing. Like, nothing.
led to the system's financial struggles and eventual downfall. Within 2 years, The Ouya was bought by gaming accessory maker Razer, with hardware sales being discontinued in 2015. In June of 2019, Razer announced that they would no longer support the system online and would discontinue user accounts, essentially turning the Ouya into a $99 doorstop. This would have been the end for those users who had high hopes for the system, had it not been for the tech-savvy fans of the Ouya who took advantage of the open platform and managed to scrape the eShop data and open a homebrew storefront, allowing users to continue using the system. For newer gaming fans interested in purchasing an Ouya, which are still readily available on the secondhand market, there are online resources on how to access this new storefront, thereby allowing you to have a functional addition of a relatively obscure game console to your collection. Fortunately, the system that I purchased had already been modified by the previous owner, allowing me to just jump right in and play some games. Well, that is our look at the history of the Ouya Game Console, which I purchased on eBay for about $44, and I believe it was like $8 and some odd cents for the shipping. And that's pretty much where you're going to find it for, somewhere between $40, $60-ish. Some of it won't be set up with the new storefront, but there are resources on YouTube, especially, that'll show you exactly how to do it. I don't believe it's that difficult. Nonetheless, I didn't have to do it for this. What about the specs on this thing? So it's running an Android 4.1 Jelly Bean operating system. It has a NVIDIA 3T33 SoC chip. The CPU is 1.7 gigahertz quad-core ARM Cortex-A9. The storage is 8 to 16 gigabytes of internal flash. It's running 1.0 gigabyte RAM. The graphics chip is an NVIDIA ULP GeForce. The input is USB 2.0. Also has a micro USB to connect it to your computer. Also has an Ethernet connection. And its connectivity is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So that's pretty much it. So why don't we take a close look at it, just a peek around it. There's not much to it. Then we'll hook it up to the TV, take a look at the menu and the games, and see if this is something that you want to add to your kind of obscure video game console collection. All right, well, here's a look at the Ouya console. As you can see, as I said, there isn't much to it. On the top here, you'll have your power button to turn it on and off, obviously. Over here, you have your HDMI connection, your USB 2.0, that is, your micro USB for connecting to the computer, and an Ethernet. You can see it has like a little cooling fan down on the bottom. And that is it. That is your look at the console. So the seller that I purchased this off of did not send the official Ouya controller with this system, which is probably a good thing because, as was said in the little history lesson, the Ouya controller is a piece of crap, where the buttons stick kind of like inside the controller. It's very poorly put together. The triggers are, don't release from inside the controller. So what they sent me is this third-party Logitech controller, which is wired. The Ouya version is Bluetooth, but you could connect a Bluetooth controller of your choosing to this as well. So it would be something better than even this, which is sort of reminiscent of the knockoff PlayStation controllers that I get with the emulation devices that you can purchase on AliExpress and whatnot. But It is somewhat functional. It has the 2 analog sticks, which aren't too bad. The D-pad's all right. Buttons are okay. Trigger buttons are cheap feeling, kind of clicky, but I mean, it serves its purpose, I guess you could say. But really can't judge this controller because it's not an official Ouya controller. But that is that. So why don't we connect it to the TV, play some games, and call it a day. So this is the menu that you're greeted with when you power on the Ouya. And these are some of the games that are already preloaded on the system. You can sideload emulators and ROMs onto it and play it as an emulation system, but I haven't done that. Perhaps we could show that sometime in the future. Over here you have the play option, discover, make, and manage. So play would have the games that you have downloaded. These are the ones that I have, obviously. Sonic CD, Raiden, Another World, Babylon Pinball, Flash Out 2, Sonic the Hedgehog. You go to Discover, and this is where you can download games. Some of them are available for purchase, like this one here. Some of them are free, some of them are trials. And the Sawieski's picks, that name there is actually the person that did all the work to bring the Ouya back from the dead, and he's the one that opened up the new storefront and did all that kind of work. The guy is a hero. But as you can see, these are some of the games. You have other options here like best rated, most rated random, 2 players, 3 players, 4 players. They even have it categorized by content rating. You got Game Jam, a whole bunch of stuff here. Apps, adventure games, arcade pinball, casino card stuff. There would be where you could download your emulators. Fight games, first-person shooters, exclusive, entertainment, kids list, meditative. I mean, look at this. Racing games, open source, platformer, puzzle trivia, repackaged, retro. I mean, there's tons of stuff on here. Sim, strategy, sports, unlocked, VIP room, video. Let's see what's under retro. We got retro stuff here. I mean, real neat games. Some of these, as I said, were developed by individuals who have some talent when it comes to designing games, because this is open source. I mean, really interesting stuff. Another World, that's a famous game right there. Here's some of your racing games. Most of these that you'll find on like Google Play. Some of these. But they're a mixed bag. You know, these weren't the elite kind of really good games that people were expecting out of the system, which ultimately led to its demise. But I mean, you can't go wrong with some of these. They're really not that bad. Here's some of the first-person and shooter games. So here are some of the emulators. You can run RetroArch on this. Here's one for the PlayStation. That would be the N64, MAME, PSP, Ouya, Commodore 64, Game Boy Advanced, Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, Mega Drive, another Super NES, Game Boy Color, MAME, that's PC Engine or TurboGrafx 16, Atari 2600, Commodore 64. So let's see how Sonic the Hedgehog looks on it. So when you click on it, it shows you this little menu, which is kind of neat that it has this. It will show you like a little trailer of the game on there. Over here, it shows you a little history on the game, which is neat. Let's see, it doesn't look too bad. The bad thing about it is, since this is an Android version, this would be what you would have on your cell phone. So you see the little controller touch points on the bottom left and right of the screen, but I didn't see that on any other version of this, but it's not bad. I could tolerate it, I suppose. But it looks pretty good on this TV, at least. That's one good thing. So here is Sonic CD. See what this thing looks like. So this one doesn't have those little cell phone touch points. Also looks pretty decent. And we're going to play a little Raiden Legacy. So this is interesting. It's actually a bunch of Raiden games. Sounds a little muffled, but it looks pretty decent. Yo. Get some power-ups here. It's a tough game. So this is a game called Flash Out 2, which is sort of like Wipeout for the PlayStation. But graphically, it looks pretty decent. So this sort of shows you what it's capable of graphically. It's actually a pretty decent looking game. Like I said, very similar to Wipeout. Control-wise, it's not bad. So this is Babylon Pinball.
Lock rates. Ball locked.
It's okay. It's stylish, I suppose.
Beijing portal.
This game would be Another World, a game I have never played before. Well, that can't be good. I died. Dying again. No. Nope, can't kick him. About to die again. Jeez. Anyway, that's Another World. So here I am downloading Championship Boxing just to see what this is all about. I have to say one thing. The connectivity that I've had with the Wi-Fi actually hasn't been too bad. My Wi-Fi is actually 2 floors up from here. The router is. And I haven't had any issues as far as, the Wi-Fi is concerned. So, it's not too bad. So this would be Championship Boxing. I don't know what's going on here, but I've been sitting here on this little park, I guess this is, listening to this little song playing. So I don't know what's going on here, but this might be an issue with other things. I'm not sure. I haven't really tried downloading all that much else, but this isn't boxing. Darn it. So I just downloaded a game called God of Blades, which is a fighting game. So let's see what this one is all about. So here's another game that's a problem. I come up to this main menu here, or the opening screen, and it says press O to begin, but none of the buttons are doing anything on this. So I can't even start the game. So we will be uninstalling this one. And that would be the game error. Slashers, the power battle.
Destiny awaits.
So we'll play one more game, that being R-Type, and then we'll call it a day. It's not like on automatic turbo here. I'm not even pressing a button. And that is our look at the Ouya Game Console. Would I recommend it? Meh. I don't regret getting it because it wasn't horribly expensive, and this was my chance to get a little piece of obscure gaming history. But the problem is this. When the system first came out, one of the selling points of it was that it had games that were free trials or in-app purchases, which would generate revenue for the company. The problem was the game selection wasn't all that great. It was missing a lot of familiar games and really standout games. So people were happy enough with just doing the free trials without actually dumping any money into it, which caused the company to go under. So it was supposed to be a positive, ultimately bankrupted the company. But I haven't added any emulators to this, or ROMs to play it as an emulation device, but I got plenty of those other options, things that I've shown you in the past. I was more interested in what they actually have built into it now in the storefront. Some of the games aren't bad. There's issues with some of the games being designed for a cell phone, so you need a touchscreen. So it wasn't configured right for this system. And there's a whole bunch of other issues with just games not playing right. But it's not bad. If you're a collector and you want something that's obscure like this, then I would recommend it. I'm really not going to play it all that much. I got so many other better options than this, but it's nice to have it in my collection, and you might like it as well. So that should wrap up this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next one.